The great Magic Johnson is with us tonight.
Hall of Fame mogul. Yes, indeed.
Stephen A. Smith, Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose, we are all here. Magic, we're delighted to have you back with us. And so we will start with you. As we look at this matchup, and you were just telling me before we came on how excited you are about these two teams being here. What to you is the most significant individual matchup we will see in these finals?
Well, it's definitely Curry versus Smart, right? And I know that he had success in terms of Smart against Curry in the past, but let me say this, he hasn't done it yet in the NBA Finals. And it's a different animal when you think about the finals, because don't think that Steph Curry is not conscious of him playing good defense against him, right? So he's been probably studying everything that this young man Smart has done against him so he can prepare for game one. And I think Steph is going to have a big series because he's mad at everybody keep talking about how Smart has controlled him, and he wants to show the world.
I agree with Magic in terms of Steph Curry having a big series, but I'm also paying attention to the nuances. I'm talking to a Hall of Famer here, a legend. Obviously, Jalen Rose played in the league for 13 years, knowing what on earth he's talking about. And this man, Mike Wilbon, covering the NBA for over 3 decades. I'm sorry. It's a compliment, my brother. It's a compliment, my brother. You don't look at one bit. Here's the deal. When I watch Marcus Smart, remember, Steph Curry got hurt earlier this year. Marcus Smart was the one who hurt him. When you look at it, not emotionally because it wasn't intentional or anything like that, but Marcus Smart is a highly aggressive and tenacious defender. I'm watching the way the game has been called in the playoffs. That's something that people underestimate. Steph Curry and Steve Kerr can collaborate to use against Marcus Smart as well. And so we got to pay attention to that. The level of aggression that Marcus Smart is going to be able to exercise. Yes, you have an abundance of Celtics who can defend straight up, and we understand that. But you have the most explosive offense in basketball as far as I'm concerned. And if anybody can figure out a way to take advantage of a potent defense, it's this Golden State Warriors.
Let me just say this real quick, Jalen, before you jump in. Quick whistle benefits Golden State. If it's not a quick whistle, it benefits Boston Celtics.
The physical nature, perhaps,
that's right,
and the advantage to the Celtics. What do you have your eye on, Michael?
Can I go to an emotional matchup?
Sure.
Since I learned initially from the gentleman sitting to my far right about teams playing for history, about their minds and their emotions. And I remember being on the wrong side of picking a matchup when Magic was playing against the Celtics, and he was talking about the two teams having that, playing for a sense of pride, the banners that hang above them. Golden State's in that place now. You know, what's that saying from Dennis Green? You know, they are who we thought they are. The Warriors are playing with that in mind. I'm not saying Boston's a very worthy challenger. I think the most worthy challenger from the Eastern Conference. But Golden State missed those 2 years, which was beyond their control with the injuries. And now they want to show us we are who you thought we were. And so that, I think that plays heavily into this series.
I'm going to take the wings since Magic, the Hall of Fame mogul, took the point guard position, right? Klay Thompson and Wiggins. Klay returns after 941 days, helped shoot them into the NBA Finals. Wiggins started in this year's All-Star game and played really well against the Dallas Mavs. And on the other side, the ascension of Jason Tatum, how he's played in each round leading his Boston Celtics team. And Jaylen Brown, who's been a guy locking down defensively but also making big plays. So I'm interested to see how they respond in their first NBA Finals.
I'm interested in seeing Magic Johnson, who's sitting here next to us. I want to know how much does the Boston Celtics have to do with you sitting here, because if they win, they will surpass the Los Angeles Lakers for no all-time title winner.
I'm not going to hold back that I hate the Celtics. I don't want them to win, of course.
We've got
because a lot of hype. You've been to 5 NBA Finals. How much do we put into experience of finals game action playing a role into tonight?
You know what? I think we put too much into it, you know, especially in certain situations. You look at the Boston Celtics, right? They had to go in Milwaukee in the second round being down 3-2 a Game 6, win a Game 6, and win a Game 7. Then they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, lose Game 6 at home, beat the Miami Heat in the Game 7. That's experience in itself. And people don't understand is that sometimes it's is about the journey and what you have to go through in order to get to the final. So with that being said, I understand final experience, and a lot of people like to harp on it, but this is not one of those cases.
Yeah, I agree with Perk. There is, while they don't have finals experience, they have a ton of actual experience. This is a team that's been to the conference finals multiple times. I think this is Jason Tatum's third time in the conference finals. Jaylen Brown, third time in the conference finals. So while they weren't able to get over the hump in those prior years, they are battle tested. Make no mistake, I think it would be foolish for anybody to come in and say, oh, the Warriors are just more experienced. That being said,
Yeah, I'm waiting.
That being said, the way the Warriors play and going through this does give them a slight understanding of all of this media, all of the questions, all of the stuff, the 2 days off in between. So there's an emotional roller coaster that if you've been through it before, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, Tatum talked a little bit about that. It's just different when you see the finals logo. That script, it changes things here.
does.
All right, I'm going to play a scenario.
Please.
Best big three. I'm going to give you the options, of course.
Okay.
You got Tatum, Brown, Smart on one side versus Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Which threesome are you taking here?
Oh, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, without a doubt. And it's not just because of it is without a doubt. It's not because of just an experience. It's like, while he can say and look very confused, this is also a team that Clay has played in 6 straight NBA finals. That means that for the last 8-9 years, that trio has been the baddest trio on the planet. So while this next group is coming in, don't tell me that a team that's been to 6 finals in 8 years and then the new kids on the block, oh, I'm taking the new kids. The gap isn't that clear.
Well, it is, and I'm taking the trio from the Boston Celtics simply for the fact that I love guys that play both ends of the basketball. Jason Tatum, a two-way player. Jaylen Brown is a two-way player. Marcus Smart is a two-way player. I can't say the same about Golden State Big Three, especially
What can you say about that?
Especially with Clay coming off an injury. I haven't seen Clay on the defensive side of things this postseason really buckling down and getting stops. So with that being said, while the Celtics are the best defensive team left in the postseason, one of the best defensive teams to ever play, I would have to say this. I'm taking the big three for the Boston Celtics.
All right, real quick. You got Celtics in 7. You got who?
Yeah.
Celtics in 7?
No,
you don't make predictions. I know you don't.
No, he got Golden State in 7, man.
Golden State in 7?
I think the Boston Celtics are going to win this game.
This game.
They are.
He'll never really give you an answer.
It can't go 7 if you don't lose 3.
Thanks for that math. RJ, Perk, appreciate you. Back to you, Will.
Tap dancing like Gregory Hines. I love it. Okay. Well, we'll stay right here because we just talked about the disparity in experience on the court in this series, but it carries over to the head coaches too. The coaching matchup. You got the rookie coach in Ime Udoka against multiple-time champion Steve Kerr. Kerr, the 6th head coach to reach the NBA Finals 6 times. That matches Pop for the most NBA Finals appearances by an active head coach in the NBA. Kerr's won 8 NBA titles with 5 as a player and 3 as a head coach with Golden State. Ime Udoka, the 5th rookie head coach over the last 25 years to reach the finals. Udoka seeks to become the 7th head coach to lead the Celtics to a title and the first rookie head coach to win it all since Nick Nurse in 2019, who also defeated the Warriors. And speaking of that Raptors title, look at that. So happy to be joined now on SportsCenter by Nick Nurse himself. Coach, thank you so much for being here. Certainly rarefied air in what you did in 2019, what we're seeing Ime Udoka do today. Do you have any advice for him on what it's like to coach in the NBA Finals your rookie season?
Well, I guess I've been there. Listen, I think you get this far, you start getting, even more relaxed, and you have a lot of confidence in your team. So that's my advice. Relax, enjoy it. It's a amazing experience to be coaching in the NBA Finals, and I think you gotta, his team's good enough. They're gonna have to play great to do it, but they're there and they've earned it. They certainly deserve to be there.
Wait, I find that fascinating. You said you get more relaxed as your team advances? In the NBA, you were more relaxed. How?
I don't know, but that's what happened. I think that the pressure to get out of the first round and you get lead in the series, and I don't know, but I don't know. It just seemed like as the further we went, maybe the team just kept improving so much that the confidence level for you as a coach and what they're capable of doing goes up and contributes to that.
I could definitely see that, especially for a Celtics team that's had to overcome a lot of adversity in this playoff, right, to land where they are right now. You know, when it comes to building a contender, Coach, we've certainly seen teams that are constructed with homegrown talent, right, like both teams tonight. And then we've seen the ever so popular super teams that are built through free agency and trades. What do you believe is the most effective approach?
Well, I think you got to believe that there's several paths to doing it, because you never know really when you're with an organization which path your team's going to be on. I mean, you're not always going to have a ton of first round picks, right? To do it do it in house. So, I think a combination, you're going to have to have some picks, you're going to have to sprinkle in some free agencies, a key trade never hurts, I think, either. But you're going to have to develop your own guys that you've drafted over the years, too. And just like both these teams have done a great job of doing.
They certainly have. Golden State has 8 players right now on their roster that they drafted. Boston has 7 players on their roster that they drafted. Speaking of which, Boston, certainly a fantastic run, but they have struggled in clutch time, blowing several big leads. Coach, what do you think that they have to do to correct themselves in order to give themselves against a Warriors team that is fantastic in clutch time? Well,
first of all, that's their own fault for blowing everybody out all the time, right? They weren't in many close games. They were so good, that they didn't have a lot of close games. I think that it's a learning experience. I think you're going to have to always believe. I think they've probably gone back over the last game and gone through some things that they would do differently. You got to learn from them on the fly while you can as the playoffs progress.
We've talked about this, and we just talked about it. You beat this Golden State team back in 2019, certainly doing a lot of reflecting when it comes to Golden State back on this stage. And I know that they don't have Kevin Durant anytime this time around. But other than missing KD, what do you is the biggest difference between this team that you saw a few years back and the one you're watching this year?
They're pretty deep, right? I think that they've got a lot more guys that could contribute. I'm not saying every night, but in the course of a 7-game series, Wiggins, Poole, Looney's playing great. They got a bunch of guys that can come in and help them. And they'll need somebody. They'll need somebody. Again, not the same guy every night. Similar to the way we did it. We'd have Pascal Siakam one night with a big night, Serge Ibaka the next night, Freddie VanVleet. Those guys gotta come to play and kind of be the third or second, some nights a second point of attack offensively and contribute.
Certainly we need to see some of the role players step up. And we've seen that even in past Golden State championships as well. All right. The importance of Game 1 cannot be understated. Teams that win it go on to win the series over 70% of the time, including your Raptors team. With that being said, I won't ask you about the whole series, but who do you think has the edge tonight?
Well, first of all, I do think it's going to be an awesome series. I really do. I think it's going to be so intriguing to see whose style perseveres and how that swings. Listen, I felt pretty confident because we worked all season long to get the home court in Game 1 when we were in the finals, and it pulled us through. I would, if I had to, I'd lean slightly towards Golden State because of home court.
It could be a smart move, right? They are 9-0 right now in the playoffs at home. Certainly strong effort there. Raptors head coach and 2019 NBA champion Nick Nurse. One day when you decide to not do this anymore, if you want to come join us and be an analyst, you did a fantastic job, Coach. I'm just saying.
I'll be there. Save me a seat. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much, Nick.